everybody, and welcome back to the Weird Science Absolute Comics podcast. I'm here with Gray. What up, Gray?
So, Eco, Jim, Eco. Let's go.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Cancelled
I am now
canceled.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I didn't just do that. That was you. That's the thing. Would you be allowed to do that? You are in Japan, but you're not Japanese, so I think you're canceled as well.
I think
there
I
you
am.
Go.
I've been cancelled for years.
Yes, that is true. You just didn't realize. Nobody told you. That it seems that sometimes. And I'm telling you, in this issue, there's a part where Lois says something. I'm like, I know what you're talking about, Lois.
Yeah.
We have solidarity with Lois more than we've ever had. The idea of a podcast and how it always feels like you're kind of doing things out, even videos and stuff like that. Like you just don't know. Podcasts, I think, are worse because sometimes they're just out there. And yeah, you could see some stats, but nobody's at least you get some comments and stuff in the videos. But here we go. Here we go. We got the absolute stuff. And if you were wondering and saying, hey, what's up with that Jim and Gray? They haven't had a show in a while. First up, we have some scheduling issues, especially because of the time change now. With the stupid daylight savings time, the only thing it's saving is Gray being saved from talking to me because it's messed up our schedule. We have problems as it is because I tend to sleep in. If my alarm doesn't go off, I don't go to bed until 5 a.m. But then you push that hour and it's like really tough sometimes. So if we do end up missing some things, we will try our best to get back to them. If we don't get back to them, we'll certainly get back to it the next issue and whatnot. But in the meantime, we also last week, if you weren't aware, because it's more of a big main podcast thing, the books last week, because it was an annuals week, were Patreon only. And at the last second, we decided to put the Absolute Batman Annual on the regular show just because it's the Patreon only. So if you were really into like, oh, I wonder what they thought, we didn't skip it. We talked about it. In fact, we talked about it for about an hour.
Time about it.
Yeah, it was over an hour.
And I was drunk. As you can tell.
Gray was drunk, and we went through a roller coaster ride of emotions. I'll tell you with that. I got angry at one point. You got angry. We were screaming about this and that, whatever. But in the meantime, we did get some feedback. Mostly positive. Not everyone, though. I did tell you, trying to point to the idea that not everybody was positive. But most people, even people on different sides of, the spectrum here, saying, you were fair both ways. But, I ended up getting one person did ask me legit, just straight up, what my politics were because of how we were talking and whatnot.
Oh, my goodness.
And I ended up like, okay. And they said, if you don't want to say, I'm like, I'll tell you what it is. So I told him, and he's like, yeah, that's what I figured all along anyway. So I don't think that I come off as anything but what I am, but who knows? Again, I'm not going to say what that means.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Again, I'll even tell everybody here on the Absolute Superman, my main thing in life is you just don't bother people that don't want to be bothered and be nice to people in general. That's basically my deal.
Do no harm, Jim. Do no harm.
And the thing is, I'm kind of a dick, but I could at least at a base level, I want to just like, I'm not going to go and punch somebody. Like when they had that TikTok trend where you go up and just punch somebody out of nowhere, like that's bullshit. Like that upset me. Like I wouldn't do that. Yeah, some guy in Japan actually died. Some old guy, they came and fucking punched him and the guy died. It's like, what the hell? I thought it was you.
God,
but yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that. Or that one guy, there was that one guy, I forget his name, Johnny Hawaii or something, where he was I think he was in Japan or Korea, and he was just going up to people and screaming in their face. I think it was Japan. Like he'd go on the train or the subway and just go in people's faces and start screaming just to upset them. He got in trouble, though. That guy did some weird things. But somebody will know what I'm talking about. Johnny Banana or something.
Johnny Apple Blossom.
Johnny Apple Blossom. It's like there's always those Apple Blossom festivals. Also, if you want to know if we do not have an episode one week or another, just blame any festival, random festival in Japan, because they have a lot of them.
It's the school shows, the culture festival, they call it over here. It's every weekend, Jim. I've got to go to one school or another.
I think you thought maybe I didn't believe you. I believed you. I saw that and I made the joke. I'm like, what are they doing? Grease up there on stage? You didn't respond. I thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, then you have to apologize for the crowd size. It's like, it's a small school. I'm like,
it's a tiny school. It's really cute, like a village school. Yeah,
I thought it was really neat.
18 students totally. That's the whole for the elementary school.
What were they doing? What were these kids doing?
They were doing, oh my God, what was it called? I can't remember.
Was
some
it like
Japanese
a play or
folk tale. It was really cute,
I like when sometimes you get like those like a local music teacher, and the guy thinks he should be on Broadway, so he puts together a whole play, and you're like, Jesus Christ, this thing's a slump.
There's the cultural sensei playing guitar on stage.
Yeah,
what's going on?
Exactly. We ended up where one of my kids, I think it was Rafe, was involved in this play called the Hot Cheetos Time Machine, it was called.
Oh, wow.
And they were going back in time using the hot Cheetos as a time machine. I don't know what happened, but they were going like, oh, there's George Washington. Hey, George, what do you think? I would never tell a lie. And then they'd move on with more hot Cheetos. They give them,
sounds like Bill and Ted.
Have some hot Cheetos, George. I don't like these. Like something like that. It was weird. But again, we're 6 minutes in, and I don't need anybody yelling at us that we're not talking about. Again, here we are, Absolute Superman. This all is to let everybody know, again, if you want to hear us talk about Absolute Batman Annual, we did talk about it at length. It's on our Patreon. You can go over to I usually don't push it on this podcast, but it's patreon.com/weirdscience. And each week we have a spotlight with 2 books from that week's books, not the absolute stuff, but just the regular stuff. And we have usually me and Simon, Drunk Simon, talk about them, but there'll be occasions where we'll have a full out exclusive show. And that's what happened last week because of Annual's week. And Batman Annual. But here we are with Absolute Superman number 13. An issue that here's the thing, me and you talking about Superman, Absolute Superman, and liking it actually has convinced some people that I kind of think are kind of big haters. Ended up started reading it and started liking Superman, but not lately. And now they're blaming us. This is why I never recommend a book. I hate it when you recommend something. You're like, it's really good. This is what happened to me with Spider-Boy over at Marvel. Every time I go to hey, you should read Spider-Boy, and it's the worst issue follows. It always happens. And so there were some people who last issue said, okay, you got me. I'll start reading Absolute Superman again to read this issue and get pissed off at me and you. And say, what are you? This
you can't do right for doing wrong, or
you can't.
Even if you win, you lose.
We're not Nostradamus.
We can't predict anything.
That's just it. We're Nostradamus.
I tell you what, there's a lot of good press for this book, and especially this issue. People are loving it. Even Sus Gabe.
Yeah, I don't get it. In that you're going to start you're going to have Jason Aaron. He's going to play a little bit. Hey, look from the headlines, but it's not full in your face, kind of like that Absolute Batman Annual was. This is more of. I'll just say there's a lot of things that it looks like what they're inferring is Ra's al Ghul's kind of using like a Project 25. It's so kind of there, but not there. It's fine. It doesn't upset me. What upsets me is we don't know enough about the whole world in this absolute deal. This book was giving us more than others. I mean, this book was actually going, okay, well, we have the Lazarus Corporation. We have the Peacemakers. That seems like in any future type deal, you usually will get corporations running their own police forces. That's something that me and you both really like sci-fi. You have that a lot. You'll have that whole play where, the major corporate, especially, here's the things that you'll get a lot, especially in cyberpunk. You'll get a lot of Japanese stuff and you'll get corporations running everything. So it feels, okay.
I blame William Gibson for everything.
It is, and that's awesome. The Neuromancer is so good.
God, I love that so much. One of my favorite books.
I actually at one point was reading that every year until I stopped reading because I'm a schmuck. But I
do you hear, Jim? I'm a bit scared as well, boy. I think it's Apple Plus are making a TV series, a drama.
I was just going to say to you
I hope it's good, but I know it's going to suck.
I was just going to say the thing was that the whole play was I was always worried if they made a movie because I knew it wouldn't be able to do it, but a miniseries could.
Maybe it could.
But it's probably going to suck. But here we go. Yeah, well, I should say the credits. But again, you get that play. I'll finish my thought. You get the play of the corporation, Lazarus. They have the Peacemakers. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But what's going on with the regular government?
I know.
What's happening? Because if you say, oh, well, Jim, it's obvious that the U.S. doesn't have any government, that it's run by corporations. We see the government in absolute flash. You have Rudy. You have Wally's dad is a officer of the military, and the military is running. They might be sus, but we have that. And then that's tied into this when you had absolute evil. But I need to know what happens when somebody comes on, U.S. soil and just starts bombarding a town with mecha and crazy tanks and things. This isn't like the idea. I get that you're playing Smallville small and that nobody's going to notice, but boy, there's a lot going on.
You think they'd notice this, wouldn't you? Flip it out.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the idea of how they are attacking gets a little bit too much to think. It happens where it'll happen a lot is where you sit there and think, what does the U.S. government think about Gotham City? Like, I get the idea when it's no man's land. That makes sense. They shut it down. But normally, like I said, in Ram V's run, you ended up having a foreign entity, a prince, and a foreign family come in and they're hanging people in the middle of a U.S. It doesn't make sense. So it's one of those you have to suspend disbelief, but sometimes the disbelief might be a little too much that you need a little bit of an explanation. But it
feels like Lazarus is running the country here.
And that's fine. If they say that legitimately the government answers to Lazarus and we find that out, that's fine, but we kind of need to know that. There's a lot in this, and some people may say, well, that's what I kind of figured. So have I, but we haven't been told really. And that's the weird part about it is there's a lot of things that are just left up to interpretation. But it is part 2 of the Free State of Smallville, and it is Jason Aaron writing, Ralph Sandoval. The art looks great. On art, Ulysses Ariel on colors, Becca Carey on letters, and it's good to have Ralph Sandoval back. And you have Ash Padilla on assistant editor, Chris Conroy, editor. And so, you have the Battle of Kansas. This issue, me and you both thought it was a bit of a slog. You don't really, pretty much what you do here is just say, man, that Ra's al Ghul, he's really a son of a gun. He's attacking Smallville, and it's kind of downer. So I'm waiting for the point where Superman he is a hero, but he's just miserable. He's always upset and miserable. I kind of need more. It's almost like what people will say occasionally where Spider-Man will get in that lull of where he's just always, oh, woe is me, I suck, or whatever. This feels a bit like that. The idea that you're waiting for Superman. Now, in that, I think the overall play that intrigues me, though, you're still kind of going with the idea of this is a Superman that came here later, didn't have Mom, Pa Kent, and really plays out, and I wish that was played out better, but it can't really be because Superman wouldn't know the difference. But the idea where Superman is going and saying, there's a lot of people who will say Superman thinks of himself as a human, that he relates more to the humans because that's who he grew up with.
That's how he was brought up, yeah.
And that's how he was brought up. This is where when you have people say, and it's like Dan Jurgens and guys who have written Superman, that if Superman in a book says great row, that means the writer doesn't get Superman because our regular Superman didn't have any connection to row. He grew up in Kansas. The whole deal. He's raised as human, so he relates more to that. But in this, you don't have that because he came late and he was kind of pushed away from the Kents pretty quick. So he had to get away. So he never got those lessons. I get that.
Speaking of Kansas, Jim, do you call Kansas people Kansans?
You call them Kansaneans.
The Kansans.
The Kansans. Stood their ground. Actually, I don't even think I've ever actually said that to anybody.
It's in the first page.
Yeah, so you end up where this whole play, you're dealing with a Superman that doesn't have that hook to humanity. He wants to do good. He wants to help the planet because of what happened to his planet.
That's fine. That's fair enough. Does he have this connection to Smallville though? Like why? I thought that's why Rage was attacking it because he cares about that. And I do like that. But see, there's little things that I really like. I like the idea where Jason Aaron, in a roundabout way, explains why you have to have a secret identity. I mean, here it is. Smallville. These people are screwed because Rage figured that he likes Smallville. Tanks on the street.
They attack there. So in that, he says, if it wasn't for me liking Smallville, and again, he doesn't have that much a connection, but it is a connection. And so when they go there, also, the only thing, too, there's a couple things that'll save it. What saves it a lot is it looks and feels like Red Dawn. At the beginning, I'm like, that's cool. I love Red Dawn from back in the 80s. So I'm like, that's cool when they have the parachutes in and whatnot. But in the meantime, it's just a full-out just battle. You have all the people from Smallville. They got their guns and stuff like that. They're going to fight back. But Jesus Christ, there's missiles, jets, mechas.
What's a crossbow going to do against a tank,
exactly.
Jim? That's what I want to know.
Well, it worked in Red Dawn. They're all going to start yelling Wolverines in a minute. But they end up where all this going down, Superman has to get involved. And that's the big play. And then we're going to have him do like kind of a sacrifice, and we'll have to see what it means. But in the meantime, Lois thinks that she's going to get the word out. And she has, I joke, word up. She ends up where she has like a podcast. So she's there and he's like, hey, everybody, welcome to Smallville's fucked and Lazarus is a bunch of assholes. Yeah, I'm Lois Lane and here I am. And by the way, Lazarus is here and they're pretty much destroying a town and killing everybody. Anybody out there? And then at one point, Superman says, hey, you got your thing going on. Like, she's just like, I'm doing things, her and Jimmy. And Yeah, she goes, I don't think anybody's listening. They're obviously going to be jamming this, right? But she's trying to get the word out. Somebody's going to hear. Maybe this is where we get the connection with Wonder Woman. Maybe Wonder Woman hears this and comes to help because she is going to be kind of, intersecting things or whatever. But in the meantime, that's more Batman, but it'd be kind of crazy. But in the meantime, they just, hey, when did you realize that Lazarus was a bunch of assholes? I think I thought she meant when her dad died. No, she meant when she met Superman. It's fine, but it's like there's nothing going on here.
When did Lazarus suddenly have mechs as well? Giant mech suits?
Yeah, they did at one point had weird stuff. But I mean, I think it's just going with the idea. It's a mega corporation that just does it. It's like RoboCop meets whatever. Judge Dredd. It's all these things mixed in one.
Judge Dredd. Peace mechs.
Yeah. In the meantime, though, there's just Superman trying to fight back. And then realizes at a point where he's not going to be able to protect the city, the town enough. So he gets Sol and says, Sol, I want you to protect it. What Sol does when he makes almost like the mini fortress over Superman, he says, I want to do that for Smallville. So basically it just becomes a siege. But in the meantime, Sol says, I can't do that because I promised your mom and dad that's the programming. And he's like, no, I'm going to divert the programming. You don't have, because now Superman is pretty much vulnerable. He doesn't have Sol's protection, and he's been hurt. So all that going on you have, but just in between you have things like Jimmy's like, they call me Three Thumbs Jimmy. My mom said I couldn't take a picture. I'm like, your mom's a bitch. Jesus Christ. Hey, Three Thumbs. Why are they having him take pictures anyway? You know what I mean? Like, what pictures is he taking? Usually the mother's taking the picture of the kid. They're like, take a picture of me. I'm sexy. I'm putting it up on the single site. But what about Dad? What about Dad, Three Thumbs? Shut your fucking mouth and picture. So you end up where they're doing this. When did you decide you're on the wrong side? And she's like, I think we both did the same thing. I'm like, whatever. Like, legit. You were
Look
on
at that look she gives him as well, Jim.
You were Lazarus. You were Lazarus Lackey 2 days ago. Your dad got killed. But and then you keep going back and forth and whatnot. You have, you're going to play again like Red Dawn. You almost get the idea of low tech. It's like Ewoks versus the Empire because they're on horses. They're going around, things like that. They're being targeted, but that's when Superman has to go. Lana looks like she's going to die. And Superman comes in and starts just beating the crap out of the mecha, but then also has to say with Sol, protect the town. I can't do it anymore. So you have that going on. They're underground because this whole play of these diamond mines. I'm telling you, this issue was a slog. It wasn't very exciting in my mind.
It's like now, the other day, 5 weeks ago.
And again,
we're kind of like, where are we?
We had this a lot this week, but an issue that we had this exact kind of thing was Batgirl this week, if anybody read that. And when you get done, you're like, why the fuck were we jumping around? There was no reason. And I kind of get it here. Just tell a linear story. I don't need to jump back to see that you punched a mecha. I kind of get it. But they're down below and they're trying to rile up the troops and they're trying to do the right thing. And hey, Lazarus this, and I have to go and help. And then you do have this one guy who comes over and says, and this is where you're going to get some people maybe upset, but the idea where this guy's like, hey, by the way, I was the one who reported your family to Lazarus. I was the one that reported to Kent.
He's the mailman. I knew it was him, Jim.
Yeah, and he's there. He's like, I'm the mailman. I reported again. If you're going to go, it does feel like straight from the headlines here in the U.S. But the idea where Superman, a normal Superman, would be like, well, I mean, even if he was pissed, like legit, Superman should be upset. Even if it was the Boy Scout Superman and say a Philip Kennedy Johnson, who would probably be like, well, everybody has their thing to do, something, what he does by the end. I'd be pissed, but it just comes off weird. And Superman
he doesn't shake his hand, does he, originally?
No, he leaves him hanging.
But then he
thinks this guy,
and also, don't crush his hand. That's quite funny.
You like the art, right?
Yeah.
Right? Why is the mailman a clone of Clark? I think that, like, if it was legit, I think that Mom might have been stepping out with the mailman because he looks like an older Clark. He looks just like him. And so he's doing that. He leaves him hanging like he's Tom Brady or something. But it's like the worst part is leaving somebody hang. That's worse. That's worse than saying, oh, you're a jerk or whatever. Leaving him hang is so embarrassing and so bad. But then he comes back. But then in the thing, he's thinking, laser vision this guy's face off. Like he's angry. And I give Jason Aaron credit that you show that because he would get angry at times. But it just feels wrong at points. And then he goes, it's like, don't crush his hand, don't crush his hand. But crush his hand looks like your hand's on fire.
I know. Don't crush his hand, also, just burn it.
I thought that one of the plays should have been fun of when Superman gets angry anytime, the eyes go red, right? That's a play where when Superman's eyes, then that is the thing of like, oh shit. Like if he's if him and Batman are arguing and Superman's eyes go red, you're like, oh shit, Batman really upset him.
There's another Bruce. Thing quick
with writers. Like I heard them say that too, that there's an argument of Superman would never do that to anybody, would never get to the point. But I disagree. I like it because it shows you, because Superman doesn't like to show that he's angry. He doesn't want to be angry, but that is almost like he can't help it. You see it. I was thinking like, are his glowing arms in this? Like, is it that? But no, it's just his arms glowing all the time. I thought that'd be neat. It'd be a different thing where I'm like, I think he's burning the shit out of the guy's
I thought he was charging him up like Iron Fist.
I'm like, what the hell? So when that's going on, he says, hey, I love it. It's like, hey, you turned the Kents in? That means you're very observant. You should be on guard duty. What I think he's saying is, I hate your fucking guts. I know they have mechas and shit like that. The closest that anybody's going to get to the danger is the guards. So you're on guard duty, asshole. Yeah. Smell you later, Rick. And he ends up and he's like, oh, guard duty. What am I guarding? Like, oh, no. You're going to go outside of Seoul and you're going to guard a random mailbox mailman. Get the fuck out of here. But you end up where he goes off and everything's good. And then he says, tell people whatever. I don't care. But I'm going to go and, do some things. In the meantime, he's doing an
I'm only here to bleed.
Yeah,
look at him dropping lines like that.
Oh, my God, yeah. It basically, that's, it's like Rocky.
Don't have time to bleed.
Yeah, it's that whole action. Yeah, I don't have time to bleed is what it was. So you end up where he's doing an interview as well of like, I don't know if I want people to know me. They might not like me. It's weird. Again, we're at issue 13. We've been doing this for over a year. We should be past this. And that's one of the people who have dissed this book. It's been pacing and it's been the characterization of Superman. It hasn't really changed much. We need to get to a next phase. This Attack of Smallville should do it, but
does it feel like we really know him yet? We don't, do we? As you say, after 13 issues, I'm not sure. We just know that he's young and he's like inexperienced and he can't control his emotions yet.
Again, that's everything that you get though, is you trying to figure it out, which is fine. Yeah. But I think that Jason Aaron maybe on purpose wants us to not understand the Superman because it's different. And Superman at one point even says, like, I don't even know myself. That's fine, but you got to get somewhere with this. And whether it's a clever way to tell a story at this point, I need to say, oh man, I know the Superman, or I know Lois, or I know Jimmy. And Lois, even at one point, do you like Lois in this book? Because she's sassy, really. Right? But she's a bitch. I don't mean to be mean or anything, but even when Jimmy, like, at points, like, opens up to her and tries to, like, oh, man, I'm this, and she just ends up like, shut up, Jimmy. And then, but not in a funny way. You do have the idea she can't spell. No matter what universe she's in, she can't spell worth a shit. She's like, how many K's is that? Like, it has none. That was pretty funny. But in the meantime, she comes off as a bitch. And I don't really like it. So Superman comes off as a whiny little jerk. Not a jerk, but he's just a moping guy who just, whatever. But I don't get behind
emo Superman, Jim.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's not just the hair. It is emo Superman. But then you go to Raish and Talia. And I think the most interesting thing to me is that Talia is getting more and more angry at her father. You can tell. She's like saying, why don't we get this? And he's like, you shut your mouth. And then he keeps going on about a son.
Patience, daughter.
Like, the idea that she's got to be the big play here that turns the tide, that she ends up turning on Raish and saying, I'm your daughter. Like, I'm your blood daughter. And yet you push me aside for this alien asshole that you want to have him be your son. Yeah, what the fuck is that? Like, I'd be so angry. And she seems to be angry. And she seems to want to do things, and Raish has to keep calming her down. Yeah. And then says, even this, where he says, patience, daughter, all will be ready soon. And she goes, where's Brainiac? We need more of his kryptonite. If we're going to bring this alien to his knees. And she's like, we got to do this. And he goes, Brainiac is otherwise occupied, and I have my own plans for the remaining kryptonite. We'll have to employ other means. Like, he's basically telling her, shut up, and then says, go fetch your, like, he is ordering her around in such a mean
Go fetch your
way.
God box.
He's not like, listen, I love you, Talia, you're my daughter, you're my flesh and blood, go get that box, we're going to do it. No, he's like, fetch that box. It's like the Shine box. She's going to get pissed. She's going to end up, doing something here. And in that, though, I hate the idea where, you have the mother, but every time we go somewhere else, we're going to get to the point where you have a second cousin box. You don't need that. Just call them the mother box. I'm so sick of this idea. Father box, uncle box, daughter box. Just get the stupid mother box and go. So she goes to do it, and they're like, okay, we're going to do this whole thing. In the meantime, you have this problem where Superman's trying to fight everybody off. At one point, was it weird where he ends up bringing down this mecha? The guys fall out, and he's like, hey, I want you to go and sit in the pig slop. When I'm like, what is he talking about? Like that, he says, he goes like, these guys, these peacemakers are going. He goes, there's children in these tunnels, and you're dropping bombs. He says, the Ross family's pig farm is 3 miles that way. When I come by there in an hour, I'd better see you sitting in the slop, thinking about what you've done.
Go and sit in the corner and think about what you've done.
I swear to God, this is a Simpsons joke. So don't cancel me. Don't cancel me. This is full out Simpsons joke where the one peacemaker goes to the other is like, what did he just say? And he's like, I don't know. I think he said he was gay or something. He says, how do they know who the Ross family's pig farm is? He tells them to go there. And they're like, I don't know what the fuck he just said. And I'm not going there. I'm going back.
When I come by there in an hour, you better be sitting there.
He's like, you know what? I love these Lazarus guys, that peacemakers. They're like, how much time do we have? Well, he said an hour. Okay, that's enough to go back to Ra's al Ghul because he's not
let's get out of here. I'm going home.
Fuck out of here. I'm grabbing a truck and getting out. I'm not going to the Ross's pig farm and sitting in pig slop. Why would they do that? It's such a weird play.
Do you think he's really going to come and check on us in an hour?
Actually, nope. I want to see him go there and they're not there. And he's like, damn it, I thought it would work. It's not going to work. And then again, you get, hey, the people have to know who you are. And there's where the eyes are glowing, all these things happening because he's wrecking things and whatnot. But in the meantime, he's like, at least Smallville's fine. But that's where you get Brainiac hacking into Sol. And I guess it's because Sol is diverted. They even say at one point, Sol's like, I'm busy doing this. But then he had to help with Lana and things. So he was not paying attention and got hacked by Brainiac. And that's pretty bad. And I don't know if it takes Sol out forever. Like, this may be a thing. If that's the case, I'll be a little upset. I actually like Sol. One of the things I do like, not that he's the greatest or anything, but I like that concept. And Sol actually was the one who was maybe giving us a little bit of info because of what he was, the AI and stuff. So when you get Brainiac,
pretty cool, like the banter between him and Cal as well. I've enjoyed it.
So now, so it's almost like an Alfred
Brooks. It's a good move. Do you ever think it's like, oh no, Brainiac's like taking over somehow? Sol, and then care about him.
I like it turns purple to show it's Brainiac, and now he's entrapping, Lana and Jimmy and Lois, and he's not going to be there to protect Superman. And with that, Superman is going to be affected because Ra's now has pretty much the cloud from Final Fantasy VII sword of kryptonite. And he's like, you will bow before me and you'll beg me to
look at that
son.
Sword on the last page.
I'm like, this guy, like
glowing
usually
green.
It's the kids. But Ra's has such a daddy issue about this. Like, he's so upset, I guess, that he only has a daughter. I think that's all it is. That he's just like, you will be my son. And I just want to tell you, be like,
what country is he from again,
time.
Jim? It must be, very patriarchal, isn't it?
Yeah. I would love it every time that you say that. It's just in the very back, like distant. You see, Talia just has her hands up. Like, what the fuck, still this? But yeah, she's going with it. We'll see. But I do think that she'll be the linchpin of, because at this moment, you really go with the idea. How could they stop him? You know what I mean? Sol is now taken over by Brainiac. Superman's already in trouble. He's hurt, and now he's there with a kryptonite. Like, there's no way out. So there has to be some way out. So we'll see if it's Talia, but it says next Superman versus Ra's al Ghul. I hope it's not just a fight issue again. Because this was a fight issue, but not really. Because you didn't get a lot of the fighting. It was just a siege issue, and it was kind of boring. But what would you give it?
Yeah, overall, I kind of enjoyed it, but it was a slog to get through. Yeah. I don't know why. It's weird.
Yeah,
I'm a 7, Jim, a 7 out of 10.
I think I'm a 6.5. Batman. Yeah, I think I'm a 6.5. It was, like you said, I just think you're doing a lot of setup. A lot issues with full setup, they're not that exciting because you're not going to get payoff, and you don't get payoff. You get to the end where you're like, oh my God, right? But we already had this scene. We already had Ra's hovering over. He gets to say, kneel before me. I was actually, as I was reading it, even before I got to that, I was thinking, like, boy, it'd be cool if Zod showed up because Zod would probably, be there to help Superman, help Kal-El. And I have to say, I do keep saying Clark, but he's not really Clark here, but I'm used to saying that.
And what do you think, like, how powerful Ras or Raish, whatever you call it, Raish Al Ghul is in this? You know, he seems really overpowered, doesn't he? Is that because of the kryptonite?
Yeah,
the size of him as well.
Yeah, he's humongous. I mean, they grow him big in the Absolute Universe. Like, Batman's sure 9 foot tall. Raish is like 7'3", and he seems like he might be like, they're like, oh, he's the runt. I don't know, but I'm a 6'5", you're a 7.
I'm a 7.
It's okay. It's just a down issue. I still like it, but I do have to say, and if you like Martian Manhunter, I'm not throwing shade, maybe, but that book really threw me. The Green Lantern might have thrown me more because that keeps going. You're going to get back, and it's kind of like, yeah, I don't really need to deal with those, and I don't like. There's so few books that you want to read them all and enjoy them all, but I'm not, and we're kind of getting tired of Flash as well. So the first 3 are still good. Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. I don't need one of these 3 to dip because I'm already, kind of dropping some things. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But before we go, let everybody know where they can find you, Gray.
Okay, you can find me on YouTube. Sometimes doing comic book reviews, Wakizashi's Tea House.
Yeah, so go there. There'll be in the show notes a link to go and check out. You did a Night Fight review, you said, so I'm going to go read that. I usually wait until after I review things. This week has been a fiasco on all the things that I do. Everything got delayed and things, so I will check out your review and then put a shade comment no matter what. Is what I will do. I will say that I wish you were drunk, something like that.
I live those. I live for those stealthy, like shady, sus comments, Jim.
I love those. I give a lot of people that, but yours, I don't throw shade at as much. I'll just come up with some joke that we said or whatever. But with all that, thank you for joining me as always, Greg. We're going to get out of here, so we'll play your song right about now. But thanks everybody, and we'll talk to you later.
Shimashita. 感動して感謝しました。本当に大好きです。私は普通の男ではありません。私はもう本性の愛です。私にからかわないでください。そうしないとあなたは消えてしまいます。私は普通の男です。でも私はあなたを殺します。だからそのまま受け取ってください。